Good afternoon, Nook Nation, and welcome to this week's edition of Lakeshore Live. We are coming to you one day late. Our apologies about that, but now better than never is how we look at things over here at Lakeshore Live. For the first time in 2019, we are going to welcome in Manager of Baseball Operations, John Kane. John, thanks for joining me.
Hey, this is quite an opportunity, Eric. I feel like an actor on Saturday Night Live. I feel like I've made it when I made it to Lakeshore Live, so I'm happy to be here.
And you were actually the very first guest on Lakeshore Live ever last year.
Well, that's something I remember, I guess.
Yeah, he's got a big picture of that moment right behind his desk to kind of mark the occasion. All right, John is here today to talk about our coaching staff. But before we get to that, the entire month of February, John and the coaching staff is going to give you an update on all of our alumni. So make sure to check out LakeshoreChinooks.com every Monday and Wednesday for alumni reports. It'll get you caught up on where all of our alumni from the past 7 seasons are, who's in the bigs, who's in the minors, and who unfortunately still is not chasing their dream of becoming a professional baseball player. The first one will launch tomorrow on LakeshoreChinooks.com, and then again every Monday and Wednesday. John, let's kind of talk about the alumni real quick. We had our 5th big leaguer make it to the pros this year. Kind of talk about who's on a major league roster and who might begin some spring training invites.
Yeah, this is a fun time of year. As we get ready for our season, it's fun to look back and see how all those guys are doing. I spend a lot of time doing it. I've been in touch with several of the guys just to see how it's going. We've entitled our series this year "Survive and Advance" because we are at the point where we've had guys that their careers have come to an end.
Yeah.
So we like to focus on the guys who are still alive and surviving in minor league baseball. But unfortunately, it's a tough road, and we've had a few that have fallen off. But right now, we're very excited. As you said, we've got 5 guys who've already put in time at the major league level. Zach Granite, who we did a bobblehead last year as our first guy, of course, had a rough year, but he'll be back. He's in the spring training camp for the Twins. Brian Anderson started the entire season for the Marlins last year and really had an impact on their roster, which was kind of cool to see. And then Harrison Bader with the St. Louis Cardinals. I just found out he was named to the National League All-Rookie team.
Oh, wow.
And he also won the Major League Players Alumni Association gives a Heart and Hustle Award, which Harrison earned. And those of you who remember Harrison, he played with a lot of energy, a lot of confidence, and we're seeing that at the Major League level. Andrew Stevenson had his time with the Washington Nationals, and he'll be competing to get on that full-time Major League roster. And then late in the year, Eric Hanhold, pitcher out of Florida, kind of came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
He's been battling some injuries. He was in the Brewers organization, but in a trade that the Brewers made with the Mets to get Neil Walker in 2017, Eric was the dreaded player to be named later. Switched over to the Mets organization. It was a great thing for him because by the end of last year, he was a late season call-up and now is in the Mets spring training camp.
Very cool. And what about some guys that might have gotten invites to spring training in just a few weeks?
Well, the non-roster invites for the Major League spring training camp can be a sign of something good to happen, but it also can be a sign of you got to put up or shut up at this point. So we've got some guys I think who are in that position a little bit. A player that most fans will remember is Mike Pappy out of Virginia, was a high draft pick. He was 38th pick overall when he was selected, and he hasn't been able to break the AAA ceiling, but he's going to get his shot as a non-roster invitee for the Indians camp. But again, I think it's one of those where he's going to have to really make an impression during the spring to keep his career going. We're real excited about a couple of pitchers. Sean Anderson out of Florida is going to be invited to the Giants spring training camp. Jesse Schultens, who was just here for a couple of weeks, I believe, in
2015?
You're the Rain Man with that kind of stuff. So I believe it was 2015 out of Wright State. He's in the Padres organization, and he got invited. And I just found out as well that Evan Krasinski, a local player from Franklin High School and was at East Carolina, was one of our big pitchers on our championship team, has been invited to the St. Louis Cardinals camp. So that's kind of exciting news for him.
And Sean Anderson was in the Futures game this past year.
Yeah, Sean was, and that's always a big deal. Brian Anderson was in that game, and now we're seeing Brian in the majors. So we hope that means something good for Sean too.
Well, let's kind of dive into the coaching staff for this year. 2018 was the first year post Eddie Morgan. Travis Acree assumed the role. What can you tell us about our head coach this year?
Well, we are really excited that Travis is coming back, and hopefully fans got to see a little something different in Travis from Eddie. As much as we all loved Eddie, Travis was a breath of fresh air, kind of a laid-back approach, and new to the league, and had a year of getting to know the league a little bit. I was crossing my fingers that he would want to come back because now we have a little stability in the coaching staff, and it'll be great to have Travis back with a year of experience under his belt.
And also in the dugout will be a few familiar faces joining the rest of the coaching staff. Who can you tell us will be joining Travis?
Well, we're excited. John Hasser will be back for his third year. John's assistant coach at Carthage, and complimented Travis really well last year. John had the experience of being in the league, and I think Travis really leaned on him, so we're really excited to have him back. And then we're also bringing back a familiar face to both us and to Travis in an assistant coach that we had 2 years ago in Jake Ratz. If fans come to the ballpark early ever and watch a little batting practice, Jake, when he steps in there, has hit some milestone shots out of the ballpark. He was a great power hitter at South Dakota State. Jake is now at Southeastern Community College, but he formerly worked with Travis at Ellsworth. So when Travis took the head job last year, Jake got in touch with us and said, if there's any chance in the future for me to come back, I'd love to do it. So we've got Jake coming back, so we have a full experienced staff back with one vacancy yet to fill, which we're getting close on, and that's our pitching coach.
And we'll hopefully have that announcement for you soon. Player announcements will start in March like we do every year. How are you feeling about the team without kind of giving away any details?
Well, at this time of year, when I look outside and I see the snow and everything else, and the college seasons haven't even begun yet, on paper we're pretty good. We'll just have to see how we survive the spring with guys going through their college seasons. We still have some spots to fill and some shuffling to do as we find out about pitchers and their availability and things. So this time of year, it's always hopeful, optimistic. Things look great. I know we'll put a good product on the field, and it'll be great to have Travis back with his experience.
Like I said, we'll be announcing our roster starting in March. John will be joining us multiple weeks to kind of cover that. It's hard to believe, but we are just 114 days away from the Summer of 19 opening day on Thursday, May 30th, presented by Port Washington State Bank over at Capco Park. It's going to come quick. Definitely want you to join us the next few weeks. We've got some big announcements coming. New promotions we've never done. We're going to be announcing our last 3 bobbleheads, and we'll be announcing our jersey auction exclusively right here on Lakeshore Live. John, thanks for joining me this week.
Thanks,
we'll
Eric.
Catch up with you in a few weeks.
Always a pleasure.
All right, we'll catch you next week right here on Lakeshore Live and the Chinooks Social Network.